Beverly Hills, California in the late 1980s, a place synonymous with wealth, glamour, and the American dream. Among its residents were the Menendez family. Jose Menendez, a successful Cuban immigrant, and his wife Mary, known as Kitty, had seemingly achieved it all. Their lives were the epitome of success, living in a mansion that was the envy of many. Their two sons, Lyle and Eric, were no less remarkable. Both showed promise in academics and athletics. Lyle, the older, was a star tennis player, while Eric showed prowess on the golf course. They attended the best schools and were set on a path for success, much like their parents. Yet, behind the picture-perfect facade, there were rumblings of discontent. Unseen tensions simmered beneath the surface of the Menendez household. Little did anyone know, beneath this perfect exterior, a storm was brewing. The storm broke on the night of August 20th, 1989, a night that would go down in the annals of American crime history. The Menendez family, residing in the lap of luxury in Beverly Hills, was about to be torn apart. The brothers, Lyle and Eric, had spent the day as usual, oblivious to the impending doom. Their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, were also unsuspecting. As the day turned into night, the family retreated to their sprawling mansion, a haven that was about to transform into a horrific crime scene. The brothers had gone out for the evening, leaving their parents alone at home. Upon their return, they discovered a scene that would send shockwaves across the nation. Jose and Kitty Menendez had been brutally murdered in the den of their own home. The details of the crime were gruesome, the reality almost too chilling to comprehend. Lyle, the elder of the two, made the frantic 911 call. His voice echoed with a chilling mix of panic and disbelief. Eric, on the other hand, was reportedly paralyzed by shock. Their world as they knew it had been shattered in an instant. The pillars of their life, their parents, were gone. The initial investigation painted a picture of a random home invasion gone horribly wrong. The brothers, seemingly devastated by the loss, were not considered suspects. They played the part of the grieving sons perfectly, their every move observed by a riveted nation. Yet, as the days passed, their behavior began to raise eyebrows. Their lavish spending, their lack of genuine grief, all started to add up to a picture that was far more sinister than a random act of violence. But it wasn't until a shocking confession that the true horror of that night would begin to unravel. In the aftermath of this horrific event, a shocking revelation was about to come to light. A revelation that would challenge everything we thought we knew about this case and set the stage for one of the most controversial trials in American history. As investigators delved deeper into the case, the facade began to crumble. The initial shock of the brutal crime had barely settled when the spotlight turned onto the seemingly grieving sons, Lyle and Eric Menendez. At first glance, they were just two affluent young men dealing with an unimaginable loss. However, as the probe progressed, their behavior raised eyebrows. The brothers' extravagant lifestyle after their parents' demise was a stark contrast to their supposed grief. They spent over $1 million within the first 6 months following their parents' deaths. Luxury cars, designer clothes, and expensive watches became their newfound obsessions. Eric even invested in a restaurant, while Lyle bought a chicken wing franchise. Their spending spree was alarming, to say the least. But the real turning point came when Eric, burdened by guilt and the weight of his secret, confessed the crime to his psychologist, Dr. Jerome Oziel. The confession was not meant to see the light of day, meant to be protected by doctor-patient confidentiality. However, the law had a different take. The law in California allows psychologists to breach confidentiality if they believe a patient poses a threat to themselves or others. Dr. Oziel, fearing for his life and the lives of others, shared the confession with his girlfriend, Judalon Smith, who later went to the police with the information. The brothers' arrest on March 8, 1990, came as a shock to those who knew them. The handsome, educated sons of a successful Hollywood executive and a loving, devoted mother were now prime suspects in a gruesome double homicide. The news of their arrest spread like wildfire, capturing headlines across the nation. The media, always hungry for a sensational story, feasted on the scandal. The Menendez brothers became household names. Their faces splashed across television screens and newspaper front pages. The shocking confession sparked a media frenzy and a trial that would captivate the nation. The intrigue, the horror, the scandal. It was a story made for the headlines. And as the trial commenced, it became clear that this was not just a case about a gruesome crime. It was a case that would challenge our understanding of family dynamics, of wealth and privilege, and of the justice system itself. But that's a story for another time. For now, let's leave it at this. The Menendez brothers, once the Golden Boys of Beverly Hills, were now the most infamous brothers in America. Their journey from privilege to prison had just begun. The shocking confession sparked a media frenzy and a trial that would captivate the nation. The trial of Lyle and Eric Menendez was nothing short of a spectacle. In the early 90s, courtrooms were the stage for America's reality television, and the Menendez brothers were the lead actors in a drama that captivated the nation. The trial commenced in July of 1993, nearly 4 years after the gruesome crime. The defense team, led by the flamboyant Leslie Abramson, embarked on a strategy that was as audacious as it was controversial. They claimed that Lyle and Eric were victims themselves, of years of physical, emotional, and even sexual abuse at the hands of their parents. The defense painted a picture of a household that was far from the idyllic facade it presented to the world. A home where success and image were prioritized over love and nurturing, where the brothers lived in constant fear of their tyrannical father Jose, and their detached, emotionally unstable mother Kitty. This narrative was a stark contrast to the ruthless murderers the prosecution sought to portray. The prosecution argued that the brothers killed their parents out of greed, eager to inherit their fortune. They pointed to the brothers' extravagant spending in the months following the murders as evidence of their guilt. The team led by Deputy District Attorney Pamela Bozanik argued that the abuse allegations were a fabrication, a desperate attempt to gain sympathy and avoid the death penalty. As the trial unfolded, it was clear that the Menendez brothers were not just on trial for murder, but also for who they were as individuals and the lifestyle they represented. The trial was as much about class, wealth, and privilege as it was about patricide. Public opinion was split. Some saw the brothers as cold-blooded killers, while others saw them as victims. The abuse narrative resonated with some who argued that the brothers were driven to desperate measures by their unbearable home life. Others saw this as a convenient excuse, a manipulation of the judicial system by two privileged, wealthy young men. The media, eager to capitalize on the public's fascination, played up the drama, turning the trial into a spectacle that often overshadowed the grim reality of the crime itself. The trial was also groundbreaking in that it was one of the first to be broadcast on television, thanks to the newly launched Court TV. This brought the trial into millions of homes, turning the Menendez brothers, their lawyers, and even the judge into household names. The trial, with its lurid details and shocking revelations, became a part of pop culture, referenced in TV shows, movies, and songs. The jury deliberated for 20 days, but they could not reach a verdict. The jurors were as divided as the public. Some believed the brothers' claims of abuse and felt that they acted out of fear rather than greed. Others were not convinced, believing that the brothers were manipulative and remorseless killers. The judge declared a mistrial in January of 1994. The story of the Menendez brothers did not end there. They were retried, but that is a tale for another time. What is clear is that the trial of Lyle and Eric Menendez was not just about a horrific crime. It was a reflection of the era, a commentary on the power of wealth and privilege, and a testament to the enduring fascination of the public with the dark side of the American dream. The trial ended, but the controversy surrounding the case was far from over. The verdict was in, but the shockwaves it sent through the nation were just beginning. After a long and grueling trial on March 20, 1996, Lyle and Eric Menendez were found guilty of first-degree murder. The jury didn't buy their defense of years-long abuse leading them to their actions. The brothers were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, a sentence that still stands today. Their conviction, however, did not signal the end of the Menendez saga. It was just the beginning of a series of appeals and legal maneuverings that would continue for years. The brothers, through their attorneys, filed numerous appeals, each time seeking a new trial or a reduction of their sentences. Each appeal was met with the same response: denial. The courts remained firm in their belief that justice had been served. As the years rolled on, the Menendez brothers faded from the headlines, but their story lingered in the public consciousness. Inside the prison walls, Lyle and Eric adapted to their new reality. They pursued education, engaged in prison activities, and even got married, albeit to different women. While serving their life sentences, they continued to maintain their innocence, insisting that they acted in self-defense against abusive parents. The Menendez brothers' case was more than just a high-profile murder trial. It was a cultural phenomenon that cast a harsh light on the American legal system, the media, and even the concept of the family itself. It raised questions about wealth, privilege, and the ability of the rich to manipulate the system. It also sparked debates about child abuse, especially in wealthy families, and the extent to which it could be used as a defense in criminal cases. The media circus surrounding the trial set the stage for future high-profile cases, paving the way for the live, gavel-to-gavel coverage that has become commonplace today. The trial was one of the first to be broadcast in its entirety, capturing the nation's attention and turning the courtroom into a stage for public drama. The Menendez brothers' case also had a profound impact on the legal landscape. It led to changes in California law, making it more difficult for defendants to use claims of child abuse as a defense in murder cases. It also led to stricter rules regarding attorney-client privilege, following the controversial decision to allow the brothers' confession to their psychologist to be used as evidence. The Menendez brothers' case left a lasting impact on the American legal and cultural landscapes. It serves as a stark reminder of the power of wealth and privilege, the media's role in shaping public opinion, and the complexities of the American justice system. As we continue to grapple with these issues today, the story of Lyle and Eric Menendez remains a cautionary tale of family, crime, and controversy. The Menendez brothers' case was more than a crime, it was a mirror held up to society. This tale of family, crime, and controversy has left us with many key points to ponder. The Menendez brothers, once prominent figures in their affluent Beverly Hills community, found themselves at the center of one of America's most infamous criminal cases. Their story, from their privileged upbringing to their shocking crime and subsequent trial, continues to captivate and divide public opinion to this day. The case raised significant questions about family dynamics. The defense strategy, which included claims of abuse, painted a picture of a deeply troubled household behind the facade of wealth and success. It reminded us that appearances can be deceiving, and that affluence doesn't shield from personal struggles. In terms of the criminal justice system, the Menendez case highlighted its complexities. The brothers initially escaped suspicion, living lavishly off their parents' fortune. It was only Eric's confession to his psychologist, a confession protected by doctor-patient confidentiality, that led to their arrest. The subsequent court proceedings were fraught with debates around legal ethics, the admissibility of evidence, and the influence of the media on the trial. Speaking of media, the case was a testament to its power and influence. The media frenzy that surrounded the Menendez brothers was unprecedented. It played a crucial role in shaping public opinion and added an element of sensationalism to the proceedings. The brothers' trial was one of the first to be broadcast live, setting a precedent for future high-profile cases. Finally, the trial's outcome, the life sentences without the possibility of parole, and the subsequent appeals, have left a lasting legacy. The Menendez brothers remain in prison, their appeals denied, their story a dark chapter in America's legal history. As we leave this tragic tale behind, we invite you to reflect on the many questions it raises. The Menendez case continues to serve as a stark reminder of the complexities of human behavior, the intricacies of our legal system, and the profound influence of the media. As we wrap up our deep dive into the Menendez brothers case, we're left with more questions than answers. How do we reconcile the image of two privileged young men with the brutal crime they committed? How does their story challenge our preconceptions about family dynamics, wealth, and crime? And most importantly, how has their trial, with its media frenzy and public fascination, shaped our understanding of the criminal justice system? These questions are not easy to answer, and they continue to provoke debate to this day. The Menendez brothers case serves as a chilling reminder of the complexities of human nature, the intricacies of family relationships, and the power of media influence in shaping public opinion. We invite you to ponder on these questions, reflect on the story we've shared today, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Subscribe for more in-depth looks into America's most captivating criminal cases.